Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Before we get started, please consider subscribing to my channel and possibly becoming a patron. The RadioMaster Zorro radio was kindly supplied for review by RadioMaster. Now this is my review of the RadioMaster Zorro radios. I've actually received them. It took some time to get here. I had problems with the couriers here and customs. There we go, there it is. Now this one is the 4-in-1, which has got the MultiProtocol Module, but they also kindly sent me another one. And this is the ExpressLRS one, which I'm actually quite excited about doing. But I'm going to, obviously it's the same radio, it's just got a different transmission system in it, so transmitting system. So I'm going to concentrate on the review on the 4-in-1 version. Now my first impressions of it is that it's actually not light. With the T8 Lite, it literally is a very light radio, but this has got a stronger, heavier feel to it. The gimbals are Hall effect and they're very nice, and it's very easy to change over from mode 1 to mode 2. Mine came in mode 2 and I had to change it to mode 1, and all you do is you adjust the screws. There are two screws on either side that you adjust so that you can change it without having to change the mode without having to strip the radio. Now back to the gimbal. So they feel nice, and as I'm a thumber, so I can only advise you as a thumber, and for a thumber it feels good. I can reach all corners of the gimbals, no problem at all. I'm not sure about a pincher because I'm not a pincher, but me personally, the pinching method seems unnatural for me, so I thumb, so I can only say that for thumbers it's good. The nice addition for a fixed wing pilot. Now I like flying anything, I'll fly anything. You put a balloon and a controller and I'll try and fly it. What's nice about this is it's got the trims for fixed wing pilots, so you can have a nice compact radio like this and be able to use the trims. Now the trims feel good. Moving over to them easily, they're in a nice position, and it's the same with the switches. The switches are all in a very nice position. I really do like the feel of this radio. It has got lots of switches, but we're going to go into those in detail. We're going to go to the overhead camera and I'll go through everything that's on this radio. Obviously this is a review of it, but I've not actually tested it, so over time I'm actually going to produce a video where I fly it with a drone, and I'll produce a video where I fly it with a fixed wing, so that you can give my first impressions of actually flying with it. But it does feel good, and it's got a lot of features that I'm going to explain in a moment when we switch over to the overhead camera. Now let's take a look at this radio. Let's turn the radio on.
Welcome to HTX.
And there we go.
Flight mode acro.
You see we've got a very nice bright screen, and on the front we've got our Hall effect gimbals, we've got our trims,
Trim center.
For our fixed wing, we've got our model button, we've got our telemetry button, we've got a scroll wheel, and we can also click that scroll wheel. Let's go back to here. Then this side we have our system button, our return button, and page right and page left. So that's everything on the front of our radio. So let's flip it over. Now here we've got a lot of switches. We've got
flight mode angle.
3-position switch there.
Macro. Flight mode horizon.
And we've got a 3-position switch here.
Angle. Buzzer active.
Okay, and then we've got a 2-position switch here and a 2-position switch here.
To sound.
There we go. I've already set the radio up with the sounds and everything. Then we've got push button momentary switches, and then we've got scroll wheels here. So you can see we've got a ton of switches on this radio. Then if we open this up, you'll see we've got our USB-C port, which we use for plugging into our computer. And then we've got the SD card here. Let's hopefully that you can see that, the SD card. And then this side, we've got a 3.5mm jack on this side where my finger is, and this one is the DSC for plugging into the computer for using as a game controller. Then we've got this antenna here. Let me just push this down, and you can see we can turn that antenna up, which is nice that it's got one included. But I have also noted there is a plug there, which I assume you could plug in another type of antenna. So let's pop this back. So that's everything there, and you see we've got a ton of switches, which is really nice. Now let's flip over to the back, make sure we don't miss anything. We've got two momentary switches there. You can see I put my reset timer button on here, and then we've got our connector to put an external module on, and we've got a nice cover for that so that it can be covered up and protected. We've also got the screws here, there, and there, allow us to change how the friction of the gimbals themselves, or the tension, and also change over mode. So I'll later on do a video of how to do this. Then we can take these off, and you can see our two batteries there. But we can charge the batteries within the radio, so we don't need to actually take those out, unless you're at the field and you wanted spare batteries. So, oops-a-daisy. So it was a bit stiff to get back on. Let me try it again. I think it's difficult to do this while you're doing something, while you're trying to video it. Well, that's not so clever, is it? Okay, I can see what's happening there. There you go. I had to push down on the side there, but I want to show you warts and all. And that wasn't clipping in, so that's everything there. Let's see what I've done on the screen now. Let's bring that back out. Okay, and let's go back to underneath, and you can see here we open up this. There is your charge port, the USB charge port there, and there is where we can plug a 2S battery in. And then also we have these plastic moldings here. So if I put this down, the radio comes with a screen protector, which I've already put on. It comes with these two straps, which we can put through here, and they go through there, and then you can strap on the battery, and you get two of those are included, and of course you get a USB-C cable. Now, have I missed anything out? Let's have another quick look. Done all the bottom, we've done the sides, and they've got the screws here. You can see those screws. Now it says they're accessory screws, so we can obviously later on, maybe there's some grips that you can put onto there. And that's it. I'm not going to go into the screen or any of the programming of the radio. That's going to come in later videos that I'll do to help people learn to be able to program the radio. But I think I've covered everything. Hopefully I've not missed anything, but that's it. So I really do like the fact that it's got so many switches, which especially for fixed wing pilots, you may want to do flaps, you may want to do undercarriage and whatever, folding undercarriage. So you've got everything you need there to be able to do that. I just want to add that you can see these screws here. Now we can limit the stick travel by adjusting these screws, and also underneath here, this 3.5mm jack here is actually for your audio. You can actually put your headphones on there and get audio output. And there we go, there's all the functional parts of the Zorro radio. Now internally there is a multi-protocol module. Now if you're new to our hobby, the multi-protocol module allows you to be able to bind your radio to multiple different receivers, which could be Spectrum, Free Sky, Fly Sky, lots of different ones, and also to a lot of protocols that sort of toy drones, toy aeroplanes that can have, like, you know, for a start, this is one of the first drones I ever flew, and that's my Samer. And you can actually bind it to the receiver that's inside that drone. So that's what the multi-protocol module allows you to do. It has a broad spectrum of different receivers that you can actually connect to and fly to. So you could have, if you've got a lot of different receivers, you will be able to bind your radio to that. Now the other radio that they supplied me, which was the ExpressLRS one, only has an ExpressLRS transmitter inside it. So it will only be able to connect to the ExpressLRS receivers, which is the latest thing that's been released. So I just wanted to say that you would then need to decide which one you're going to buy. There are many options. I think there's even a CC25001 which has a very limited number of protocols that you can connect to. Basically, I think it's Futaba and FreeSky are the only ones. So there are lots of versions. Just go to the RadioMaster website and you'll be able to choose whichever one you want. I mean, I suppose the ultimate would be to have all of it, including ExpressLRS in it, as well as a multi-protocol module, but probably that isn't possible because you would need 2 antennas on the radio, I'm not sure. But I just want to explain for new people what the multi-protocol module is, the MPM. Now, let's take a look at the batteries. Now, when I do a review of a product, I never ever watch anyone else's reviews because I want to give my independent and not be swayed by anything that they say. But I have noticed, and that's only by seeing the titles of the videos, is that people are worried about the small well, they're not 18650s, are they? They won't be called that. But the 18350 batteries that are in the radio. Now you can see where they are positioned in each of the handles of the radio. Now I did a test, and what I wanted to do was leave the radio on and see how long it took to run the battery out. Now I wasn't watching the radio all the time, so when you would be flying you would be moving the controls, therefore your backlight would stay on if you have it set up as the default settings for the radio. So every so often I went and flicked the throttle to make sure that it was coming back on again. Well, the result was it went from 8 volts, now I fully charged it obviously, it went from 8 volts to 7 volts in 2 hours and 45 minutes. So it lasted quite a long time. I know the backlight wouldn't have been on all the time like it would be if you were flying, but it did last, and you could probably go lower than 7 volts, maybe to 6.5, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't let it go below 7 volts before I recharged the batteries. And to charge them, it took 40 minutes to bring it back up to full charge. So I don't think there really is a problem with that, with the batteries being so small. And okay, if you put a crossfire module on the back, I'm sure it will draw a lot of power. But as I showed you earlier, there is a connector, and you've got the strap, so you can put a 2S battery on there to boost it. Because I'm sure that if you were running 1 watt on a crossfire unit, it would run that battery down fairly quickly. And now in summary of the RadioMaster Zorro radio. As I've already said, I really like the feel of the radio. I'm quite interested in flying fixed wings with it to see how it fares, because I do really like my TX16S radio. So if you're a person who likes that bigger physical radio, you may not like this type of game controller format. But actually, I don't mind both of them. What I do like is if you are exploring and you want to go, take a small fixed wing plane somewhere with you, on a backpack, you can do that because you'll be able to use this radio. If you put a RadioMaster TX16S or a bigger format radio in your backpack, it will take up quite a bit of space. So I think it's good for that. Only time will tell once I start using it to fly fixed wings to how I feel about that, but I will be reporting back on this. This is just a review of the radio that I've obviously received for review. It's got so many switches. I mean, these are nice switches at the back here. You can hear those. So you can use those for resetting your timer. It's definitely got all the switches you need. It's obviously, this one is running HTX, so I'm going to be doing tutorials. Now every radio that I get in our review, I do a full list of tutorials. Now you could go back in OpenTX and still be able to program an HTX radio, but I like to do it for the radio. So if a new person is into our hobby, comes along and buys this radio, they will see me doing the programming on this radio itself. So all that is going to be following up over the next probably a couple of months. I'll be releasing videos about the radio. I can't say I'm going to do a range test of this. I've moved to a new area, so I've got to figure out where I'm going to do this, but I would definitely like to do a range test. It's nice that they added a antenna, which I showed earlier. You can see there. To the outside, so it'll be interesting to do a test with a couple of different receivers and see what happens. Let me turn it on.
Welcome to HTX.
There we go.
Disarmed.
You see, and
Flight mode acro.
it's got a nice screen. I like the screen on it. It's very bright, and I'm actually quite a fan of having the screen on there so you can play around with the settings when you're at the field. Anything else I want to say in my summary? As I said, I think I've covered everything. It's got everything you would possibly need. Just about testing it, flying it with, especially with fixed wing, because I know a lot of fixed wing pilots watch my channel, and seeing how it feels with the trims, which are
Trim center.
very easy to get to. Now, to the bit that I put on my video, I don't say my video should you buy it. That's up to you to decide. You can listen to me and see what you think. But I turn around and say, would I buy it with my own money? Now, I would definitely buy this radio after I've used it and I've programmed it, and I'm quite happy with the design of this. Now, you might not, because of it's the compact game controller style transmitter. You may want the bigger size, but I would definitely spend my money buying this. I'm quite excited about trying the ExpressLRS one out, which is on my desk, which I'll be testing soon. I'm going to do range test and whatever with that too. So yeah, so that's my opinion. Yes, I would spend my money on buying the RadioMaster Zorro radio. And I just want to thank RadioMaster for sending me these radios for review so that I can give you my opinion on them. Well, I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give it a thumbs down, or leave a comment in the comment section saying what you think I did wrong or what I did right. And if you enjoyed this, please consider becoming a patron of my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Happy flying. Bye for now.